Okay, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who were well taught in his truth. Peace and salutations unto Akim, that's pushing his truth with all true sincerity. Under brother Yashar, Gabar, back to you again with another lesson. Lord willing, this lesson be edifying unto the elect. All right. I'm just gonna touch on a few things. Bear with me, Salaki, at the plantation. So. So yeah, man, just gonna speak on, America, how it's become weak, man. Dealing with this war. I seeing what's going on with this war with Iran. America is looking real weak. I'm seeing articles about how, Trump wanna call for a ceasefire. All right, but Iran is like, no, hell no, fuck that, man. All right, yeah, you just can't shoot no missiles, and then try to pause the war, So, and they want to continue on. And America thought there was just going to be something quick, all right, but hey, no, man, So the scripture says, what, let the weak say I'm strong. So let's grab this, the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 10. It says, be your plowshare into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I am strong. And this is what you see, the weak saying I am strong, man, because for years, you see America, all right, been this bully, able to conquer, control, because of his military might, having, the other nations pretty much spooked, all right, but and now you have the weak saying I'm strong now, man, all right, because what you have, these weaker nations, all right, able, is capable of having, missiles, drones. I'm even seeing, how, Iran have all these drones, which only cost them roughly around $20,000, but, America, all right, with their defense system, all right, to intercept, all right, these drones, it's costing them millions of dollars, man. And that's if, it's able to intercept, all right, one of them. All right, so, it's costing hella money, all right, and so you're going to see, the prices of things go up, all right, gas, oil, all right, you're going to see inflation, so, going back to the scripture, it says what? Let the weak say I'm strong, all right, the weak is saying I'm strong now, man, they're able, to have, missiles now, man, they're capable of having, other nations to back them up, all right, with nuclear destruction, all right, however America want to come, all right, they're going to come the same way, man, all right, so, well, you have the weak saying I'm strong now, man, all right, so, moving on, I'm trying to make this quick stud the plantation, so, straight to the point, Isaiah, chapter 14, starting at verse 10, it says, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? And this is what you have, you have, these smaller countries, all right, looking like, have you become weak like us? Sitting back, watching, all right, this war expose a lot. It's like, a boxer, who's, 25-0, been unstoppable. All right, but he's now, in the ring with someone, all right, and someone is getting the best of him, all right, and he may be slipping, but you have all these other boxers, sitting back watching, like, oh shit, maybe I could take him on, all right, I see where you're weak at, I see where you're slipping, I want a piece of him. I want a piece of him next. And this how, these other nations is looking at America, man. Sitting back watching, all right, this war. All right. And we know, that all these nations is going to turn against Babylon. I even seen, Trump calling for NATO, all right, to help. Now, if you need NATO, that means, you losing, All right, you losing. So you looking real weak. All right, so as the scripture says, it says what? All they that shall speak and say unto thee, art thou become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Yeah. So, yeah, you're looking real weak, man. So let's continue on. It says, thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows, and the worm is spread under thee, and the worm cover thee. Yeah, worm represent, decaying. Hey, even looking at the inner, all right, of America, all right, inflation, all right, all this homelessness, man, a lot of rebellion, sedition, weak ass, buildings, it's looking weak, still trying to keep up with China. All right, it's decaying, man. All right, and this is a sign of what America is falling, So it says, let's get verse 12. It says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nation? Yeah, Lucifer. All right, meaning, light bearer. Esau, Edom. All right, these elites with the left hand side. All right, with the light from the left hand side. All right, it's fallen. All right, it says which didst weaken the nations, and that's what he did, weaken the nations. All right, conquering, spreading his wickedness, his philosophies, All right, but weaken the nations, man. All right, but everything is, on the turn, All right, hey, the Lord is flipping it. Now these nations is ready to take America on, man. All right, and it's all cause of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, putting the spirit on them, to come against Babylon. All right. So let's see, was it more? All right, let's get verse 13. It says, for thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into the heavens, I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Yahweh. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation of the side of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yeah, and it's the spirit of this devil, man. All right, Esau, Edom. All right, that pride in him. Hey, I'll be like the Most High. He think he can't be touched. All right, but the Lord is going to bring him down. Let's continue on. It says, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the side of the pit. So yeah, the Lord is going to bring him down, man. And the Lord is, putting the spirit of these nations, all right, to come against her, even NATO, all right, the beast shall hate the whore. All this tension is stirring up, all right, but we know, there's more prophecies, all right, to be fulfilled, the MOTB, all right. I even seen everything line up. So all this shit that you see is going on in the news, all right, that you hear in these articles and podcasts is all part of prophecy, man. All right. And once the MOTB hit the scene, all right, this place is finished. All right. And the Lord is going to cause these nations to come against Babylon and rain down missiles, man. This is what we patiently waiting on, man. All right. So I'm in off that, Lord. All right. This video was edifying to the elect, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem, Rakakwadash, and give double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. So next time, say Shalom.